All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Jeff said it best in the chat. That's Hotel California on Quaaludes. And when you slow it down, it avoids the copyright, and it also has a little bit more of a saddened tone to it. To set the tone for the news of the death of Randy Meisner, the second member of the Eagles to die. The last was Glenn Frey, back before Super Bowl 58, who had a role in Jerry Maguire, which was part of that, or did I say Super Bowl 58? Back before Super Bowl 50, which you have to go back to my work back then, but it was tied in with the Super Bowl. And, of course, the Eagles just lost in the most recent Super Bowl. But that's actually not where my train of thought was. What I want to talk about is what's so obvious about this death. And again, you had the Sinead O'Connor death yesterday, and turns out Randy Meisner died on the same day as well. The news breaks one day later. They rushed out the Sinead O'Connor news, but they did get out the Randy Meisner news a day after the fact. And here's what stands out. Yesterday was 4 days after Don Henley's 76th birthday. And if you don't know the Eagles, Don Henley's arguably the most famous member of the group. Sings that song Dirty Laundry. But yesterday was 4 days after Don Henley's 76th birthday. 76 was the biggest year for the Eagles because it's the year Stairway to Heaven came out. This death comes 7 years and 6 months after Glenn Frey's death. He died on a date with 76 numerology, and if a date has 76 numerology, that compresses to 13. 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 compresses to 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. Again, he died 4 days after Don Henley's 76th birthday. And their fourth album, One of These Nights, is the album that Take It to the Limits on, which is the song Randy Meisner is most remembered for. So, again, whenever we see these celebrities pass, the ritual is always clear in the numbers. It always pays tribute to the history of what they're remembered for, whether it's their music or their movies or their sports career. But you'll always see the numbers in the death that sync with the career. And again, 76, again, was the Eagles' big year, and it's Don Henley who just turned 76. 77's no slouch of a number either, which we'll talk more about. And they did save the news for today, which has 77 date numerology. And let's go through all the other parts of this. So again, today, 7 plus 27 plus 20 plus 23, 77. If you're new here, in Gematria, things like United States equals 77, so does secret society. We're talking about the Eagles. The symbol of this nation is an eagle. The secret society in Washington, D.C. on the 77th meridian, the Masons, that's why it's known as the Masonic City. The 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite, their symbol's a double-headed eagle. And when you think about the band, the Eagles, what makes them unique is every member of the band can sing. There's not a lot of bands that can say that. But, yeah, so they saved the news for the 77 date numerology of his death at age 77. He's dead exactly 20 weeks after his March 8th birthday. 20 is a special number. Here, if you're new here, for the person who's new here, I want you to, again, understand the significance of 20 and death. And we're just going to go back to the original two classic ciphers, the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order of numerology. Notice T, which is like a cross, is the 20th letter of the alphabet. If you write out the word time and you take the alphabetic order in numerology, it's 20. If you write out cross, it's 20. If you write out death, it's 20. If you write out COPD, they're saying he died from COPD, it's 20. And man, life is just so strange. Yesterday we had Carl call in for the first time into TFR from the UK, and he talked about having COPD and living with that and battling that in the hospital right now. Shout out to Carl, who's probably sleeping. But also we had Jeff last night. Just, we went way overtime last night, but Jeff closed it out last night with a comment about the Eagles in Hotel California. And I'm talking about my mom again. My mom's favorite band's the Eagles. But anyway, he's dead exactly 20 weeks after his birthday from COPD. And the Eagles are remembered as a rock band. Glenn Frey didn't want him to be remembered that way. Glenn Frey was the bitter member of the band because he didn't like that they went the rock and roll direction from when they first started. But yes, dead exactly 20 weeks after his birthday. If you're new here, something we talk about all the time, Meisner has the gematria of 83 and 38. So does the word murder. The song Murder by Numbers by The Police came out in 1983. It's about how killing's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. And for the record, the word death also has that 38 in it. His birthday is March 8th, fittingly. But yes, he died yesterday. And again, yesterday had 76 date numerology. Dead 7 years and 6 months after Glenn Frey. Dead right after Don Henley's 76th birthday. And again, 1976 was the Eagles' biggest year because of the song Hotel California, which equals 76. If you just want to see it with your own eyes. Alphabetic order in numerology. So you're just taking A is 1 up to Z is 26, but compressing each letter to a single-digit number. So H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. That's why H is worth 8. O is the 15th letter of the alphabet. 15 is 1 plus 5 is 6. That's why O is 6 in this cipher. T is the 20th letter, as we just talked about. 2 plus 0 is 2, so on. So, and if you recall, when Glenn Frey died, he died at age 67. The reflection is 76. And he died 67 days from the concert tragedy in Paris with the Eagles of Death Metal playing. That was November 13th, the supposed ISIS attack, if you can recall. Glenn Frey died 67 days from that at age 67. And again, he was in Jerry Maguire. If you've never seen the movie, it's Tom Cruise. He's a sports agent, and there's a little scene in there that foreshadowed what was to happen in that Super Bowl, and we talked about all that. It's hard to believe that was 7 years and 6 months ago. My, oh my. No wonder I look so old. Anyway, there's Don Henley. Again, born in 47, fitting year for a rock star, Don Henley. Again, if you missed it, Rock's got that 47. But July 22nd, 1947, just turned 76. Again, 4 days before the death. Like I said before, Meisner dead on the 76 and 4 date numerology. The 4th album, one of these nights, he has his big song, Take It to the Limit, on there. The day he passed, the day leaving 158 days left in the year, we're going to have to flip it around here. Again, the other half of the code is just running the alphabetic order in reverse and in reverse numerology. If you missed yesterday's videos, if you're new here, we talked a lot about 158 yesterday. Big ruling yesterday in cryptocurrency. Here, let me see again what it was. Hold on. Bear with me one moment. Shout out to Big Al. Hold on. Yesterday, they passed the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act, which equals 158 on the day, leaving 158 days left in the air. And think about it, that we're going in the way of digital currency. All this stuff's being done for that. What's on our current paper money? Masonic symbolism all over the place. Freemasonry's a secret society. 77. R.I.P. Meisner at 77. And again, United States 77, and Washington, D.C. is on the 77th Meridian West. Is there something to him dying on Tisha B'Av to remember the destruction of the two temples when 77 was the number on September 11th, the day the two towers came down? Again, yesterday was Tisha B'Av, or the first day of Tisha B'Av, today's the second. And for the record, Judaism's got the 77 in it, so does a Zionist. That could also be part of it, since we are on Tisha B'Av. And again, here's the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. And just for the record, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is the most Jewish branch of Freemasonry, but pretty much all of Freemasonry is very Jewish because it's based in the Old Testament. Just like how this code of letters and numbers comes from Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah. And look how perfect this is. So, the album, One of These Nights, their 4th album, Randy Meisner, again, his big song, Take It to the Limit, on here. From the anniversary of the release date, June 10th, to his death, 46 days later, sacrifice equals 46. Genesis 46 begins with the sacrifice, the first book of the Old Testament. The single for Take It to the Limit came out later that year, November 15th. I can never forget that day. That's the day my house got ransacked. But that's the day leaving 46 days left in the year. And again, you got to say, what are the odds of that? Dead 46 days after the anniversary of the album. The song came out on the day leaving 46 days left in the year. His big song, Randy Meisner. And from the anniversary of the single to his death is 253 days later. That's the 22nd triangular number, which means if you add 1 through 22 together, it equals 253. And Eagles is 22. So, again, just another perfect ritual. More perfect than Domingo Germán's perfect game on 628, the first two perfect numbers. They couldn't have scripted it any better. But yeah, R.I.P. to Randy Meisner. And the only person who's not sad about it is the Big Lebowski, because he hates the Eagles. So if you've never seen the Big Lebowski, funny movie. Jeff Bridges. All right. Thank you to the super chatters. I always appreciate the donations very much. Thank you, Eric Meller, who said Hotel California equals Dianne Feinstein in all ciphers. And, of course, she's the senator out there in California and just happens to be right next to this story. And I think Dianne Feinstein's time is near. Dianne Feinstein. Well, I'm seeing... Does she spell it differently than that? How's she spell her name? One N? No, I think you might have misspelled it, but it is interesting that Dianne Feinstein is 77. She's Jewish. Again, it's Tisha B'Av. Look out, Diane. And thank you as well, Eloy Garcia. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you both. So... All right, my eyes were on the chat. What else do you guys see in this death? Am I missing anything? Am I missing anything? Let me see, chat. My eyes are on the chat. So if you put something earlier, I didn't see it. But if you repost that comment, I'll see it now. Yeah, we just had Tony Bennett just died by the numbers on the 202nd day of the year. San Francisco 202. His big song about San Francisco. It's been a rough little period here for singers. Hotel California came out on Sinead O'Connor's birthday. I gotta look that up. Yeah, I always like the chopped and screwed songs. I don't mind listening to songs on 3/4 speed. Some of them obviously don't sound as good, but some sound even better. Like Boss Skaggs, Low Down. That song sounds. If you put that song on 3/4 speed, that's how they should have put out that song. That song sounds just perfect on 3/4 speed. Oh, did I spell Feinstein wrong? Okay. Oh yeah, you're right. I missed the I. You're right. I spelled it wrong. Wait, what did you say? It was the same as Hotel California? Is that what you said? Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Dianne Feinstein is identical to Hotel California. All right, my bad. Yeah, she's the California senator. She's up there. Let's just take a look at old Diane real quick in case this is some kind of predictive programming, some weird creepy ritual. Dianne Feinstein definitely doesn't rock. Whoo, Diane. I don't think anyone's really going to miss Diane, and I don't think anyone's ever really voted for this woman either, these fake elections. It's 35 days after her birthday. I don't know. We'll worry about Dianne Feinstein when her obituary pops up. I can't stand that person. But yeah, thanks for the correction, Greg. Jaylen Brown had a historical deal today. Yeah, Boston, Red Sox, they both equal 77. Of course, Jaylen Brown plays in Boston. Let me see. Oh, it looks like it might have happened the day before, though. But close. It was just the 76th anniversary season, so it looks like it happened on the 76th day numerology. Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger's birthday's coming up. The only Rolling Stone that's died is the original singer who was found dead in the pool by the Numbers. I got his death in my first book. Oh, wow, it's Mick Jagger's birthday yesterday, I see. So you had two big musician deaths on Mick Jagger's 80th birthday. Yeah. That's probably not an accident. It's probably not an accident. It's harder to find a bigger living rock star right now than Mick Jagger. You could argue that he's... Jeff would be the perfect person to ask that question. Is Mick Jagger the biggest rock star on earth still alive? I think he is. The Rolling Stones have been going forever. Mick Jagger still dancing. Eloy, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm sorry to hear that. R.I.P. for your father. And you don't have to give me super chats for that. I would have saw your comment. But I'm sorry to hear that. You know, so I like to think that those Christians are right about the afterworld and that there is a better place, so your dad's there. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that happened to you. Yeah, truth does not exist. We can do that. We can do that. It says Mick Jagger just turned 80. He just turned 80. Interesting age. Special number there. Bavarian Illuminati 80, Satan 80, Baphomet 80. Yeah, and again, I guess I'll just close out with this point too. Aleister Crowley died at the end of 47. He's the occultist who wrote several books on Gematria. But 47 is a very special number, as we so often talk about. It's also in the word rock, and pretty much all of the big British bands were influenced by Aleister Crowley. And a lot of musicians have been influenced by the occult. We were talking about this last night at the end of the TFR episode and TFR After Hours. But yeah, again, I mean, people dismiss this knowledge even though it's a real thing that has been written about by many a people and practiced by many a people for, again, this goes all the way back to Babylon. And it's obvious that it's alive and well in music. Like, look at Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin, influenced by Aleister Crowley, who died in 47. Led Zeppelin, 47. You see how Led Zeppelin's 61 and 47? I mean, look at rock. 61 and 47. But yeah, it's more unfortunate news, unfortunately. So yeah, no problem, Eloy. I'm sorry that happened to you, my friend. Well, when we meet up in person, I'll buy you a meal for all your super chats. Not $5. You definitely didn't have to donate, but I'm sorry to hear that. Hold on, I'm going to look up something real quick, just since we realize it's Mick Jagger's birthday. I want to go back and look. Brian Jones was the founder of the Rolling Stones. He died on July 3rd, 7-3. As we know, sacrifice equals 73. And Rolling Stones equals 73. So again, Mick Jagger, the only way he got in the band was because of the death of Brian Jones, and he's made good use of the opportunity. But notice, Rolling Stones, 73. It's also 62, right? 62-73. Sacrifice, 62-73. Talked about the 46 in the case of Randy Meisner. But let's see. What else did I write? He was found dead at the age of 27. We know how Ritual's 27. They saved the news of Randy Meisner for the 27th. He was found dead in the bottom of his swimming pool. And again, dead in water in the time of Cancer, right? Cancer is ruled by the moon, which is a water sign. Every year we're talking about celebrity deaths from drowning in the time of Cancer. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw, but we just had Obama's chef drown, and now the media put out an article about how eerily similar it is to the drowning death of the chef of the Clintons. Again, that coincidence programming. That's why everyone in America just is so used to coincidence. I should say the world. The day that Brian Jones died, it was a date with 79 numerology, and as we know, murder equals 79. Jeff's calling in. What's up, Jeff?
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, you closed it out last night, mentioning the Eagles in Hotel California, only for this to be the news today.
Yeah, man. I do what I can, but check it out. Did you see my text about his wife?
Randy Meisner's wife?
You were coming on the show. This was right.
Oh, is she the one that died while cleaning the shotgun?
Yeah, man. We talked about this when Glenn Fry died.
I forgot about
the show. When Glenn Fry died,
we
talked about Randy Meisner's wife. And remember, I always used to joke, because every Eagles band member's wife sits around
cleaning the shotgun
and blows her head off.
Oh, man.
Really similar to the Terry Kath from Chicago, how he died with...
That happened on a Sunday.
Yeah.
On a Sunday. Yeah, I forgot about that detail, but as soon as you started saying, I was like, wait a minute. I know where you're going with this.
And somehow it was related with Glenn Fry. I remember we were talking about it on the show. So I just wanted to call in and pipe in about that. And the show last night, in case anyone missed it, the TFR after shows where it's at, people. Zach the Card Game. I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot too.
I brought my drummer Fred do the graphics for it using AI because he could whip it out so fast. Just throwing that out there.
Okay. Yeah.
He's already done 100 covers for our record label since ours because ours was so good. They gave him a job.
Okay, here, all right. This is perfect. We talked about how the Eagles, the double-headed eagle logo, is the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite. From the anniversary of his wife's death, which was March 6th, 2016, to his death is 143 days, and Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is 143. So
it's always intertwined.
Okay. But yeah, I appreciate that, Jeff. Thanks for the reminder.
No problemo. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for checking in, Jeff.
Thanks for doing the stream. Ciao, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. Look at his wife's name, Lana Ray Meisner, 63. She died on the 6th day of the 3rd month. I mean, the majority of the world writes the date 6/3. And yeah, again, a span of 143 days from her death to his. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 143. And again, dead on the day, leaving 158 days left in the year. Freemasonry. And I think it was DK Stonewood who made that point many months ago. I just remember him. You know how he is. He's just like pulling a million different thoughts out of his mind, one bong rip at a time. And it's like, you know, the Eagles, the reason they got all the singers is because the Scottish Rite got the double-headed eagle. I was like, it's interesting. Never thought about that before. But yeah, we know Masonry is big in the entertainment industry. So, woo, man. Let me go back and double check again what day Glenn Fry died and see, because yeah, they died around the same time. He died January 18th, and then she died March 6th. And we know 118 is the number of death, right? 118, big number of death. 2016 was a leap year, so March 6th would have been the 66th day of the year. Rock and roll 66. So the two deaths were 48 days apart. And it's another number, but I'm never going to get into it. I'm curious what I forget what the Gematria shotgun is, though. Shotgun's 32 like eagles. Like the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rites, the double-headed eagle. Randy Meisner's wife, and then Glenn Fry. Okay. Yeah, that was a good addition. Thank you, Jeff. All right. Thank you, Osei Simbahins. Yeah, we covered the Philadelphia rapper death. If you missed that, it's I did that one on my birthday. We did it the thumbnail is Tony Bennett, but we also talked about the Philadelphia rapper who was murdered. And shout out to Frank the Truth Tank. Appreciate it. Interesting. Some people, it allows me to give a heart. I guess if you give a sticker, I can't give it a heart. I never realized that before. Give hearts. Okay. But yeah, yeah, another Laurel Canyon related death, right? All right, yeah, I think that was the addition we needed. So, you're saying Randy Meisner's from New England? Is that true? Is that where he's from? Hold on. Yeah, he is from New England. Or wait, no, that's Nebraska, isn't it? No, he's from Nebraska. We saw that NE and we went New England, but no, that's Nebraska. He's from Nebraska. Born in 46 as well. Again, we talked about all the 46s in his death. Hold on, Jeff's calling back. Jeff's got something more to say. What's up, Jeff?
You still live?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you mention about Anton LaVey up in the pews on the back cover of Hotel California?
Anton LaVey's on the album artwork, is that what you're saying?
And that, by the way, that was me that mentioned that about the double-headed eagle when we called in at the end of the show in the Eagles.
Oh, it was? Okay, my fault. All right, it was you.
But check it out, people. Anyone, if you've got the actual cover, like the vinyl, because I imagine it'd be tricky to see on the CD, but if you've got the actual vinyl album, look on the back cover, you know, on the front cover, it's the outside of whatever this hotel is supposed to be, the mythical hotel. On the back, it's the hotel lobby. And up in the top there's like a second floor that's kind of dark. Anton LaVey's up there. Kind of like how they had Crowley on Sgt. Pepper's. Kind of the same application, but he's up there. But it's the real dude. It's really Anton LaVey up in the balcony and the lobby of Hotel California. So check it out, people.
That's interesting. I never knew that. I always knew the song was about hell, but that makes sense. Yeah. In light of that, again, Anton LaVey.
Back cover. See if you can Google like images for the back cover of that album and see if it's big enough to see him up there.
Well, okay, Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan. Satan has the Gematria of 80 like Baphomet, which is their symbol. And then he's dead on Mick Jagger's 80th birthday? So, that's interesting. And, again, Mick Jagger's over there in the UK, or not Anton LaVey, but Aleister Crowley was. And just since you now, here's something that's interesting. Meisner's dead a span of 201 days from the upcoming Super Bowl. That's something to think about since the Eagles were in the Super Bowl last year. And Anton LaVey, of course, died 201 days after his own birthday and 201 days before the sitting Pope's birthday at the time. And that was John Paul II. And we know that, you also on the same day had the death of Sinead O'Connor, who tore up Pope John Paul II's picture. And, of course, in Gematria, Catholic Popes 201, and I don't need to go down that whole list again. But, there's a bigger puzzle here, so.
There he is. I see him up there. There's three little arches. There's got to be 3 arches. He's up there in one of them. Is it the far right one there? You can just see him up there. Creep. And notice how downstairs it kind of reminiscent of Sgt. Pepper's with all the characters there. So there's a layover between those two album covers for sure. The front cover is Sgt. Pepper and the back cover of this one.
Okay, this website right here is saying it's that.
Remember the line I said last night about the Eagles? Now I remember. I was trying to think when you brought that up. What did I say last night? I was talking about how everyone's in their cell phone with their neck crooked down, right?
Right.
And I said the Eagles were right. We are all just prisoners of our own device.
Yeah, that's what you said exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And then today he dies. Isn't that a trip?
It is a trip, man.
Another one, like so many magical things are happening with you and me lately, like the dove and the Prince thing above your head on the little ledge on Hollywood when you were speaking.
Well, isn't it weird that Carl called in last night for the first time ever? He's been following forever. He called in from the UK. He's got COPD, and then that's what they're saying that Meisner died from.
It's a trip, man. But that's how you know you're onto something. The universe gives you those little signposts along the way. Like, don't worry, you're not lost. You're totally on the path. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Indeed.
And that's what we will endeavor to do. There he is.
Yeah.
There he is.
So they're saying it's the face in the middle of those 3 windows.
All right. So... And someone was mentioning Michael Aquino, that shitbag. You guys know I had his personal assistant on my radio show for 7 hours, spitting. And this guy brought down the Presidio Air Force Base pedophile ring. Aquino, you guys all seen that. And all you got to do is Google his name and click images. And you'll see both a contrast. And this is the trip. If you really want to understand or show someone who doesn't understand what the U.S. military is about, let's do this for him, Zach, visually. Let's show them how to do this. Because did you see in the chat, people are trying my cell phone trick and it worked? Some guy tried it at the Hard Rock Cafe today and he said it was killer. With the cell phones and the friends.
Oh, yeah.
Just Google Michael Aquino and then click on the images. Because if you ever want to show anybody the dichotomy of the U.S. military psychological operations unit, because we know that the money centers in the UK and Britain, right, and that the Vatican is the religious mind control epicenter, and that the military monster is here in America, right?
Indeed.
Did you get him up there?
I got him up there.
So if you ever want to prove or notice it for yourself, look at the contrast. Look at Aquino in his former life in the Church of Set, which he's still in his let's say in his younger years, right? Then look at him with you see the ones where he's all decorated with all the badges, all the medals of honor, and all those medals on his lapel with his Grandpa Munster eyebrows.
Right.
So he's like a clown, people. But there's the dichotomy. I mean, that's what the military is about. It's about promoting someone like that to be the head in charge of psychological operations on the American public. And he's the one that is responsible for the Roswell lie about the aliens, ALI. There you go. So you see the dichotomy. Just like show your friends and show as you scroll down, you see him hanging out with the Rat Pack, like Sammy Davis and Jerry Lee Lewis and Dean Martin back in the day. But that's what your military is. In case you just really don't get it, and there's people, it's like people who don't get about religion. You know, they think the American, like we're the do-gooders, we're the good guys, protecting everybody in every country from the bad guys.
Yeah, the indoctrination is deep. So
can you scroll down a little more? Images, see if you see the ones with him and. But just like
I got the one up with him and Anton LaVey. That's what I have on the screen right now.
Pardon?
I have the image up of him and Anton LaVey.
I was just seeing if there's like the pictures there, right there. There's the one with him and Sammy Davis. There they are.
Yeah.
There's the three amigos.
Yeah.
And remember how they used to use Sammy Davis Jr. was like just kind of how they punk black men in the media, and with 59 and 42, he was like that. And the Rat Pack between, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, they were always punking him. They was kind of putting him down and playing him the fool. Like he was kind of like how they treated him, kind of like how they treat each other on the Comedy Central celebrity roast,
Sure.
So that he was their little token, who to shame.
Yeah.
Hey, look at it. Look at it. And you'd never think that guy on the left would go on to be such a decorated U.S. military personnel, would you?
Yeah. Somebody in the chat's reminding people that Jim Morrison's dad was high-ranking in the military. And again, the day that Jim Morrison was found dead in the bathtub, at least that's what we were told, is the same day his dad retired from the military.
When we were playing the Gematria Squares last night, we named a ton of people in the bathtub. Let's go through it again, shall we? Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston's daughter. That happens a lot, mothers and daughters. It's like how they wear kind of like matching outfits, and then they drown in the bathtub together.
Last year it was the Carter, the brother of the guy from the Backstreet Boys.
I'm going to go way back to one of my favorite bands and one of my favorite albums. This is one, again, that we talked about last night, how the puzzle pieces fall so far apart. Sometimes it's hard for people caught up in the rat race to even know that there's multiple pieces that they need to put together. But let's go way back to, God, what year was this? Early 80s, the Pretenders' first album, and their original bass player, and both of the two killer players in that band died mysteriously. James Honeyman Scott, I think it was attributed to alcohol or whatever, drugs. But the bass player, Pete Farndon, he's the first person I ever remember in my life with this pattern died in the bathtub.
Huh.
Jim Morrison being the second. That I came aware of, and I think Jim died in the bathtub before him. But
just to remind you all, bathtub has the gematria 74, like killing. Bathtub and killing 74.
And you remember, now let's flash. This would be a cool thing to pull up. Can you go on YouTube and pull up the beginning of When Doves Cry, the music video? You can mute the sound. You don't need the sound, but there's Prince. I believe, let me just recount, make sure my memory's right. But if you pull it up, I bet what we're going to see is the camera zooms in, Prince in a purple room, he's in a bathtub with fog coming up, the steam, and on a checkerboard floor.
I got it up right now.
Time to watch his videos. But, we've talked about what we did with Prince and calling out his death and warning him to watch his back 67 days before it happened. Both Zach did it it was his first YouTube channel called Free to Find Truth. He's been through 25 now since we've met. And he told Prince to watch his back. Look at that. He told Prince to watch his back. And then he came on my show and did the same thing. And that's still in our archives. And look at that. Yeah, that's good. And so that was one of our first things that we really bonded over. And that was probably one of our biggest finds and calls. And we called a lot of details about it, from, why they turned Niagara Falls purple, to the connection with, he died on the Queen of England's birthday, the Purple Rain beer they launched that day in the UK, Prince's mother and Vanity's death date, Prince's father and Aaliyah's death dates, all this stuff we found. And, we knew each other all these years and never met. And then the night we meet in Hollywood, Zach's speaking with his little PA system. And it was a trip, because all night, this was the weird part about the whole thing, because it wasn't just the dove, it was how...
You didn't say the day that we met for the first time happened to be the anniversary of Prince's death.
That's the trip. We met on the anniversary of Prince's death, people, and the whole night we had the tripod sitting literally right next to the street and had Zach framed with the Freemasonic Theater behind him, where the Jimmy Kimmel shows broadcast from, which does have a checkerboard floor stage for all the performers to play on. And so Zach was there, and a lot of the filming I'm doing, I was like, Jeff Young Scorsese that night, making Zach but he was speaking all night. Even DK got up and spoke. And that was the strange thing. When DK took the mic and he was speaking, Zach had been holding the tripod, kind of leaning on it, for comfort, but also holding it while he spoke. DK wasn't doing that. And out of the blue, like the Wizard of Oz, it was just like there was no wind. There was no weather whatsoever, just a still night. And then suddenly, so much wind that it blew his PA to the ground. Smack.
It was crazy. It was like a big windstorm just came out of nowhere.
Right? And then, so we're like, okay, well, let's move the PA. So there was a black wall, which was the side wall of the Hard Rock Cafe, where I've played before. And we moved it there. So now he's out of the wind and he's speaking. And I'm over on the side, and one of the gals was filming, and there was an awning right above him, maybe like 8 feet above him. And just as he had talked about every topic under the sun, a stream of consciousness. You can imagine all the things he would talk about on Hollywood Boulevard, including a lot about Kobe and sports and yada yada. But he had not talked about Prince that whole evening. And we were kind of getting later in the evening. And I was like, well, man, he really hasn't talked about the Prince thing. And so I was like, dude, talk about the Prince thing. And it wasn't like you can see it in the video on Hollywood Boulevard. Watch him. He starts talking about the Prince thing. You see me standing over the side. I think DK, you see him. And all of a sudden, just like in the beginning of this video, the white dove. And there's no birds flying around in Hollywood. I've never seen a dove or a bird or any animal but a dog.
Yeah.
And that image on the right, that's transgender. That's the male and female mashed up. And he made that his name. Remember, he stopped calling himself Prince, and he took that symbol.
Right.
So he was pushing the tranny agenda hard. He had a guitar with that shape, right? Where the neck comes out of that circle at the top. Was where the neck comes.
Yeah, he was a little guy, Prince. So makes you wonder. Well, Jeff, I better wrap it up because I told May I wouldn't be too long tonight on the stream, but I appreciate all the additional observations you brought to this one. Thank you.
Cool, man. Have a good night, people.
Yes, and you do the same.
In the bathtub, he's like, "Come on, Whitney. Come Come on, join me, Whitney.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Bye.
See you. Okay. Always good to have Jeff Young. He's always got great observations. If you guys don't know Jeff, again, he's a talented musician himself. So, we'll leave it there for tonight. And again, if you guys have any additional observations, once this stream's over, you can go in the comments section and share a little post. Please hit the like on the way out if you didn't hit the like already. Again, the more likes, the more comments, the more shares, the better it does for a video on the algorithm. And this channel needs all the help it can get because we got like everything in the algorithm working against us. But thank you to people who helped the video find more of an audience. Again, doing all those things helps the video pop up in a stranger's feed. And used to be a lot easier. So thank you, Spatium Viator. What's with 33 this year, they say? Hardee's 33 has burger. El Diablo 33 sells for $6.66. El Diablo 4 release on 6/6, as we know, number of the beast 66. Patrick 33 wins Super Bowl in Glendale 33 on the 33rd parallel. Well, I don't know if it's anything different than this year than every year, right? I mean, I feel like this stuff's always going on. So, but since you brought it up, I'll keep my mind on if it does feel like it's more than normal. But yeah, I mean, it's always been the 33 show. The number of the beast tributes. I mean, it's just another day in the Hotel California, if you will. All right, True Seeker, have a good rest of your evening. If you're in that other part of the world, have a good day. And if your name's Carl, I'm still trying to figure out how to get that coupon for you. And again, thank you to everyone who supports the work. And until next time.